In this video, we'll take a look at how to use custom actions in Photoshop to turn a simple grain pattern into something really colorful and elaborate like this. So believe it or not, we can start with something that's as simple as this grain pattern, and we can turn that into this. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to create a custom action. An action is just a series of steps that you perform in Photoshop that gets recorded, and then when you hit the play button, it'll play back each of those steps as many times as you hit the play button. So let's go ahead and start with a blank canvas. Let's go to Filter, Noise, Add Noise. Let's add quite a bit of noise. I'm going to use 132. Let's make sure it's a Gaussian and make sure it's not monochromatic so we get a little bit of color. And then you'll want to open the Actions panel. You can find that under Window Actions. And we'll go ahead and click the New button to create a new action. I'm going to call this Auto Abstract 2, and we'll hit Record. Now, you want to make sure that you don't do anything else because it's going to record every single step you make. So if you click on the File menu or one of the tools or you transform anything, it's going to record that. So you want to make sure that you do only these steps. So the first thing we're going to do is go to Select All, and then Edit, Copy, and Edit, Paste. That's going to make a duplicate of that layer. Then we're going to go to Edit, Free Transform. And we're going to drag one of these corners here while holding Shift. And basically that's just going to flip this upside down. We'll click on the check to commit. So now we have a duplicate that's upside down. Next we'll want to zoom out a little bit using the magnifier. I'm going to hold Alt to zoom out. And then I'm going to go to Edit, Free Transform again. And I'm going to scale this up. I'm going to hold Shift and Alt to scale it up from the center. So we're increasing the size of the grain. Click on the check to commit. We can go ahead and zoom back into where we can see this now. The next thing that we'll do is we will set the blend mode to difference. And then as a final step, we'll go to Layer, Flatten Image, and then we'll click the Stop button. So you can see in the Actions panel, there's a new action called Auto Abstract 2. It lists all the steps that we did: set selection, copy, paste, transform, set the blend mode, and flatten. So now if we click this play button, it's going to repeat all of those steps each time we click the play button. So let's click that again, and just keep clicking the play button and see what happens. It starts to build up patterns and colors. And what's really interesting here is this was just grain, and we transformed it and changed the blend mode a little bit, but all it's really doing is just layering upon itself. What the difference blend mode does is it inverts the colors where they overlap, so you're going to get a different result every time. Now you can also go into this action and you could leave out this flatten image step if we wanted to just delete that. And let's try playing this again and let's see what happens. This time, since we're not flattening the image, we're going to keep layering it on top of itself. So these layers are going to start to build up. This is the way that different shapes and patterns are made in nature. You turn chaos into order and you just keep repeating something over and over again with the same steps. That's called a fractal. And so what this is doing is this is creating a lot of shapes that are all kind of a similar shape. If you were to zoom into this, you'll see that the edges of the shape are quite similar to the shape itself, but you're getting some really, really interesting, completely random stuff that's never going to be the same each time. Now this is going to be a pretty big file. I have my canvas set to 24 inches by 18 inches at 300 dpi, so that's why I can zoom in so close here. But this is also going to make a really big file if you keep making layers. So if you're going to be experimenting with this and going on and on and on, you're going to want to go to Layer, Flatten Image occasionally. Otherwise, if you have a lot of layers, it might crash your computer. And I recommend saving after you flatten your layers rather than saving with the layers, because it might not even save the file because it might just be too big. Let's continue on with this and see what it does if we keep going. If you find you want to brighten things up a little bit, you can always add a layer adjustment here for levels. And you can click the auto button. That does a pretty good job of brightening things up. Let's go ahead and go to Layer, Flatten Image again. Let's continue on with this and see what it does if we keep going. All right, so I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to go to Layer, Flatten Image. If you want to change the colors, you can add an adjustment layer for that. You could choose Hue Saturation, and you could shift the colors to any colors that you want. I think that looks kind of cool. You can increase the saturation if you want to make it brighter. And again, you can add a levels adjustment if you want to brighten it up even more. This black slider controls the amount of black. The middle slider controls the midtone. And the white slider controls the lighter values, so you can make it really bright. Let's check that out if we zoom in on it. And remember, this was just grain, and all we did is make a repeating set of instructions. We duplicate the selection, we flip it upside down, we scale it up a little bit, and we make it the difference blend mode, which basically just inverts the colors. So there you go, that's yet another way to create random abstract art using Photoshop. If you found this information helpful, take a quick second to like this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.